What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast, where each and every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, discussing that gaming shit. I am one of your hosts, Jerrell. With me is my co-host, brother Arthur Thomas. What's going on, man?
Brother, I am here, brother.
The Emperor provides when the servers work, don't they?
Brother, the servers are fucked, brother.
And of course, we got the outlaw out of space church. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm out here living my Star Wars dreams, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. You're having a juggle of games that came out, with especially with the first party Astrobot and Warhammer and all that stuff. So
Yeah, last night, I was looking in my PlayStation cart. I had Astrobot, I had Black Wukong, and I had Space Marines, and I started doing.
I forgot Black Myth. Yeah, there's another one. Yep.
Yep. So I'm over here like, which one? Which one do I do? So I decided on two, Astrobot, and I'm gonna pick up Space Marines later this week. So
Cool.
I'm excited to get into that. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
By the way, church, throwing out there, Jerrell and I have already talked. Like I am 100% down to be tour guide Arthur. We'll get into this more, but I'm 100% down to be tour guide Arthur and replay this campaign as many times for each of my friends that get this game. When Caleb gets this game, when Victor gets this game, I'll be like, let's fucking go. And then
Yeah.
with operation, like I said, with operations, like PvE mode, there's classes. Oh, I'm the shield guy that heals you. I'm already almost level 10. I'll keep you safe. Let's go.
Thank you, because I just want to be a grunt. Just point me where I need to shoot.
Oh,
that's my backstory. It's like, this guy's mindless. He just kills. That's the only way he knows how to communicate. His good mornings, 10 dead bodies.
Just
like
point and shoot.
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. We'll
It's
absolutely get to some of the big topics of the day, but real quick, before Joel gets into housekeeping, I'll briefly start us off with, when I say tour guide Arthur, of our friend group and our like multiple gaming groups, no matter what gaming group I'm in, I'm always a quote unquote tour guide. Where like someone jumps into a new MMO, someone jumps into an RPG, someone jumps like, hey, this game's been playing. Hey guys, I want to join. It's what? It's me. Whether it's Sea of Thieves, whether it's Helldivers, whether it's going to be this game or Borderlands, I'm always the guy. It's like, hey, yeah, you beat the tutorial, but here's other tips you want to know. I'll do that. Like when we're playing Seas, like Jerrell, you've experienced it with play Sea of Thieves. It's like, oh, they're doing that. Like, no, cool, Jerrell. They're gonna fight. They'll fight skeletons. I'm gonna show you how to cook a fish, and just like so. Hence why I don't mind. I never mind being tour guide Arthur amongst the games, especially Space Marine 2, which we'll get into more of it soon.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you watching this, hello. Of course, be sure to subscribe on the channel. It's going to be at G4L Podcast. So you can check out the videos, check out the awesome streams. We just had an incredible stream for Warhammer Space Marine 2, which is pretty fantastic. Decent amount of people kind of chimed in, checked it out. Obviously still up there if you wanted to take a look at the game. Which we ended up beating, actually, for the campaign. But an excellent game and worth playing multiple times, which we'll obviously go into detail. But as far as if you prefer to listen to the podcast, you can check that out on whatever Spotify or podcast application of your choice, so whatever you want to choose there. Anything else, you can just go to linktree.com/gamers for life. For all other things related to the show. And again, YouTube, trying to build that YouTube. Arthur's been doing an awesome job with the live streams recently, even before Space Marine 2. So again, at G4L Podcast, G's and Gary, 4 L's and Larry Podcast. So, and here at the Games Fly Podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time codes within the description. So you can go to whatever segment that you prefer to listen to or watch, or you can just hang out with us here at the Games Fly Podcast. And this is going to be a fun episode because we're all playing new games. And that's really all that matters in this episode. Is really just talking about the new games. Before we go into Warhammer, because we did have kind of a Warhammer thing in the last episode, and we'll go into the deets regarding to it, I did want to start off with Outlaws for you, Church, as far as you were playing that. We were obviously discussing information about that leading up to this. So give me your thoughts. How is the game and your experience around it?
Yeah, man, this is an emotional one for me a little bit, because I wanted Star Wars Outlaws just to be like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but just like in space. I really love Odyssey a whole lot in terms of the gameplay and story it brought. So I'm like, if you just give me that, I'll be happy. Then the reviews started coming out, and that shit put me on like, I'm not gonna buy this game. But then your boy, got a little bit too many bills in him one night, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy this game, So I bought the game, and I hated the shit. So like, the
Right off
game.
the bat, just hey, let's just right to the point.
Oh fuck! I did
bro,
not
I
expect
was like,
that.
Dude, how much? Real quick for context, before the pod, Church was like smiling. We're like, oh man, Jerrell, like we're about to hear Church defending the game amongst all the review bombers. Right off the bat, yeah, fuck, I hated this game.
See, if you bought it on Steam, you could have returned it like as long as it's like within like the hour or something. You could be like, "Fuck it, what's the game?"
But that's not the type of gamer I am, guys. Like Stadia buying guy, I buy it on
7 out of 10.
I got 2 hours to refund it. If I play the game, I can't refund it. I roll the dice.
Standing on
So
business, this Stadia, I respect it.
yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I
If
believe.
I dive in this shit, I'll accept the repercussions of my decisions. I'll stay in it. Y'all jump in the shit and jump out. Cowards. Fucking cowards.
Riding this bitch.
Church is standing on business.
Day one. So the game just looked terrible. I'm like, I didn't know what it was, but I was having HDMI problems. So I eventually, I was like talking to my wife, like, yo, this shit just looks like grainy. I don't know what's going on. Bought a new HDMI cable, and then like, okay, the game looks better. It was probably my cable. And then I had to adjust the settings. I spent a lot of times trying to get the graphics to look good and what performance mode to do. I even did like a nutty dive into Digital Foundry. Like, what's the best way to play this game? Like, just let me skip to that section. Like, how should I do it? So the game,
not to cut you off. Sorry, we're quick for settings. We're quick for settings. Are you on PC or console? Because that's a very
Console.
PC. See, that's okay. That's what I just want to confirm. Because like checking the settings is a very PC type of average conversation. But if you were having this on a PS5, that's why I was like, oh shit.
yeah,
I want to confirm that.
visually, the game just came off like grainy and like a lot of motion blur. So I moved it to like 40 frames per second as a cap, and then I put down the motion blur down to a 1. Got rid of like object motion blur completely and put the character motion blur completely. No, the environment one down, and then the character one to a 2, right? And just tweaking it and got rid of this like film grain option that's automatically turned on to the game. So turn that off, just clears the image up. And then there's different ratio aspects in the game, which is like a movie one, like a 21:9 ratio. That shit terrible. Did full screen, and then I'm ready to play the game, bro. Like, so I guess shout out to Ubisoft for having these settings options for console players. Like, it's a lot more in depth just to play the game. I thought
Welcome to my
PC.
world, Church.
Like, I'm just going through it. Like, yo, this game just does not look good. And I finally, it was playable. I was like, okay, it looks okay. Like, I can see why people say it's a good looking game. I think PC probably really brings it out, but PlayStation 5 was kind of struggling for a bit. Um, and then I was playing the game for like 4 or 5 hours, right? Um, Not really invested it. The onboarding was kind of slow. And then when you finally get to like the open world and just kind of fucking around with the missions, I'm like, I hated this game. 6 hours in, I was like, wow, I think I'm liking it a little bit. Like, it's kind of fun that the speeder that I chose, right? I had to steal my speeder. I'm upgrading it, or the ship that I have in the game. There's a story about how I get the ship, and it's really personal to KVS. It really tackles the immersion of like a smuggler in the Star Wars world. Just, creating my contacts, like the people in the planet that I know to do missions with, like those are the ones I've chose to interact with, right? And then I build that relationship that leads to new unlockables in the game. So there's an ability tree where you meet certain NPCs that you could kind of go at your own pace to unlock different abilities, and that's kind of cool because it's not like pointing you in the direction. It's just kind of letting you explore, similar to like, I'm not saying this game is Breath of the Wild, but in terms of the hand holding, it's left off, which is very different than Ubisoft's usual formula. So as I started playing through the game, I started to enjoy it more. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is the most immersive Star Wars game I've played. It's just surrounded by a lot of things. And I think I've heard this on the internet too, that it's just average. Like, and it's almost like a shorter nosed cat. Like, the gameplay is like, the stealth mechanics, average, right? It's not bad, but people who made like Splinter Cell, it's not on that quality. Or Assassin's Creed, it's just like what you would think in like a random third party double A game kind of stuff mechanics. Like it's not doing anything great. And for a game that's gameplay that's centered around the takedowns, the sneaking around, those animations are not they're not terrible, but they're not great, right? It doesn't have that oomph, right? You do it and it just kind of looks weak. I don't believe she punches hard at all at Kate Vest, but because she's got to hit them so hard it goes through the helmets of a stormtrooper, and I'm just like, yo, that's a weak ass punch, but it
Church, are you
works.
saying this 90-pound woman can't punch a man so hard through a helmet he knocks himself out? Mind you, this is someone that this is someone that played baseball up until my freshman year of high school. So if any of you really think like, no, it's not that hard, cool. Go to a batting cage, pick up a helmet and punch it as hard as you can. Well, let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah, bro. It's not even like it's just the Kelka animation's like slow. It's just kind of like, ugh. Okay, it works, right? It just feels like I don't know. So
She's
the
no
shooting, yeah,
she's no Clarissa Shields.
yeah, right. So the shooting in the game is just average too. I mean, I was overthinking the shooting. I'm like, yo, I keep kind of dying here. Let me just kind of simplify it. I'm playing the game harder than it actually is, right? And then once I simplify it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of easy. I got the way the game wants me to do stealth, which is like dual takedowns. Like if there's two people in front of you, send your little rodent to distract or attack the other guys. Then you can take out the guy on the left silently and then go back to the guy that's being attacked. And you just kind of strategize that. And then the most complex is like there's three people in front of you. Well, you just send your little rodent to attack one guy, you use your stun gun to get somebody else real quick, and then you silently take down the other dude to avoid the alarms. And stealth actually gets better in the game because, as I mentioned before, as you meet NPCs that give you abilities to unlock, is like little quests you could do at your own pace. Like your walking gets faster, you get silenter, your little rodent Nyx gains more abilities, and that's what's cool about the game. It's not the actual gameplay, but the how powerful I made my little pet companion or myself. It's because I invested in a storyline that like wasn't on the beaten path. I went out of my way to go do this to collect these items, and as the story of K Vess can grows as my character, it's like I am my own smuggler in the Star Wars, universe. Outside of that, the story's average. Somehow the positive thing here is I like the space combat and piloting more than I do in this game than I do in Starfield. Like I think the leaving the planet and coming on the planet with the music looks awesome when you first go to outer space and you get to see the entire field and fly around. I think it's breathtaking. I'm like, yo, this is hitting all the notes of Star Wars. Um, so what else? The story's not that good. I mean, dude, it's surrounded by a thing. Like I'm playing Sabak, the actual card game. So I learned how to play that, going around taverns, challenging high rollers, getting new unlockables for my vehicle and car. So that's kind of cool. Like that stuff is usually hidden behind a paywall, but I get new skins, new abilities. So there's little arcade games that maybe have 3 or 4 different arcade games that you can play in the game that just has its own high score. So the game has a lot of good ideas. I'm like, yes, these mechanics, this is how you structured it. This is what I would want in the Star Wars game. It's just not cooked, brother. Like, it's like they pulled the ingredients out of the refrigerator and we decided to toss a salad instead of putting that shit on the stove, adding some heat to that bitch. But yeah, that's my initial impressions. You guys got any questions? I'll let you know. So
How are boss battles, if there's any? How does that interact? How does that work? Or
so
if there's any?
I'm like 30 hours into the game, no boss battles whatsoever that I've discovered. Um, I'm not saying there isn't one at some point, but the missions are like, hey, sneak into this Imperial base, get the information you need, and just leave. So it's all like stealth levels. And it's kind of cool because they reuse the base for like, okay, I'm in this base, but there's a cargo bay where I can get, different credits or intel that I can sell to like a crime syndicate to boost my reputation. And as you boost your reputation with each crime syndicate, it does unlockables. So the incentive is you can get custom gear, weapon loadouts, with your upgrades of each syndicate, each one unique, and then benefits in terms of like, okay, they like me, so I can go into the charity without them shooting me now. I can buy from the vendors that actually give me a discount. So the discount goes from 10 to 25 to even 30%. Or they like me so well enough, they sell me exclusive faction gear that allows me to upgrade my weapons or my bikes or my ship. So that's kind of what you can do. Like you go into these bases, still intel, and then you can sell it to the highest bidder. And it's kind of cool missions because as you're doing a mission, like for like let's say Job of the Hutt's crew, the Hutts, this other syndicate called the Crimson Dawn, be like, hey, motherfucker, like we were gonna steal that shit. Like, give it to us. We'll double your pay, and we'll put in a good war. So you can betray the people. So portrayal of these factions is just a regular thing that you do in the game, all the time. And the game even gives you a hint, like, hey, it's your smuggler. You betray people. It happens. It goes ups and downs. Don't think about it too much. But there's incentive to aligning yourself to certain syndicates, depending on the planet you're on too, as well. It's a cool idea. It's fucking cool, right? It's just kind of average. That's it. So no boss battles.
It's a good sauce, but they put it on an overcooked, an undercooked steak or a well done steak in this case. Like, you want medium rare? Nah, here's a really good garlic buttery au jus. But it's on this shit ass custom meat cut of meat we didn't fully fucking cook. That's why that's what
Chuck steak.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it sounds like. Because again, like, one thing I'll say, kind of big picture, started broad, at least from what I'm hearing and hearing Church talk about it. I feel like if you could sum up this Ubisoft game or even the last few, it's like Ubisoft's biggest enemy are when they released good games, because all their last few games have been mediocre or mid. So we have Star Wars Outlaws, then we have it just slipped my mind. Pandora. Do you remember that game? Like, no one really asked for Avatar Pandora. It wasn't horrible, but it got like 7s. And then before that, Skull and Bones. And it's like all these Ubisoft games are just being compared to better versions of themselves. Like Skull and Bones could have been a black Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
I can't believe you put Skull and Bones in this one. That's crazy. But I hear you. They released it.
Ubisoft, like I said, Ubisoft is just releasing cookie cutter mid games, and what makes them feel like they're mid games is their other games. It's like they could have made the bow mechanics from Pandora a little bit better, like they did in their Far Cry series, a series I love. The ship mechanics and the ship and overall like pirating mechanics could have been better compared to what they did for Black Flag, how many, like 10 years ago. And like this game, you're saying like stealth assassinations, weren't that great, when Ubisoft used to be the king of stealth, the king of stealth assassinations at one point with all the IPs under their belt from Jerrell, correct me if I'm wrong, on Church 2, Siphon Filter was a Ubisoft game, right?
I would say
I know that's old.
Splinter
Cell. So what did I say?
Yeah.
Splinter Cell. Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Splinter Cell. Yes. Splinter Cell was Ubisoft game. It's been a while since we've seen a Splinter Cell game, but what's something we have seen recently in Valhalla and a new coming game, Assassin's Creed. So again, it's like, well, this stealth kills feel lackluster and phoned in compared to the what? Compared to yourself.
Exactly, right. And I think it's like Ubisoft, it's like if Kojima was making a stealth game, like you don't want it to feel like, yo, this is clearly the first stealth game he'd ever made, right? But when he's like, no, you're like the master of this, and Ubisoft has that pedigree under their belt, even though it's a different team, right? This team is the people massive who made The Division, right? And then they made Avatar, and then they made Star Wars. And I guess an interesting tidpoint is, for that Avatar game, they had 8 to 10 years of development to get that game going. So that was the life cycle of this one. Star Wars, they got the license in 2020, and they released something in 2024. 4 years. So I just don't know if it just didn't have enough time. It's actually kind of impressive with games today that have such a long lead time to like finish something like in development cycle. They came out in 4 years. It's like, okay, they really just pushed this out. But again, it's like the team that made it is the Division team that's not known for stealth, but the company's known for stealth. So like you have a expectation from your fan base because when I start up your game, you put Ubisoft right in front of my face, and Ubisoft is known to having stealth games. You've been doing it with Assassin's Creed forever. So I expect it to be better. It's just not bad. It's not bad. It's just not great, right? It works. It's good enough. That's where it's at. It's good enough, right? And it's like, all right, I can do this. It's good enough, but it's not spectacular. What else about the game? So
so since it's open world, right, and the space combat and all that stuff, how is that stuff in general?
I think that's the highlight of the game. Where you can just kind of explore different towns and do quests. So the way you get as a smuggler, and this really is the emotion, you go to a tavern, you can listen and overhear a conversation, and they'll point to a point of interest on the map, like somebody hidden like a secret treasure, or like a secret cache, or you found a spaceship who starts this whole quest line of this one pirate back in the day that gives you a map, like a hologram map of where his hidden treasure chest is at. And you find a native data cube, and you follow that sideline story quest line through space and all different planets about why he hid his treasures. Or you can just see points of interest, like similar to Ghost of Tsushima, where there's like smoke coming from a distance, and you just go to where the smoke's at, and there's usually a point of interest or like a guiding fox author, right? You've seen that all the time. So you can do that. I think the open world is strong. I think the level designs are pretty good. Like I like exploring and climbing and traversing, kind of like Uncharted, to get to the secret treasure, or a crash ship from like the old Republic age that's falling apart. That's a lot of fun. It's wide. It doesn't really have a lot of depth, meaning there's an idea as you're traveling, the bandits are coming to attack you on your speeder. Now you can't really shoot on your speeder besides like your ultimate move, and you can take them out, but it's the same sequence. It's the same area. It's the same event. I'm like, dang, this is really cool if you had a lot more variations in events. And maybe this goes back to the 4 development time. Like, yeah, here's the one idea. What happened if we had like 5 or 6 events that can happen over this open world area? And, but no, it's the same one over and over again. At least on the planet. When you go to different planets, there's a different event, but they keep repeating the same event in the same location. That's it. Yeah.
I have a question. A lot of people, this is a setting, which I never heard of this before. I've never heard of this setting in any other RPG. A lot of people found the lockpicking repetitive. So apparently the setting, you could just turn lockpicking off. Did you turn it off?
No, I kept it on. I like lockpicking in games, so it's like this rhythm-based game that's like, I think it's annoying because what you think the rhythm the sound you're supposed to follow is not the right sound. There's a sound that like hints before it, and once you pick that up, the lock picking is very quick. It's just,
rhythm games. Man, rhythm games just can't be made by some white people. It's not in us. We can't do it.
I know. Man.
Sorry.
So I think there's a lot of interesting, based off of your feedback, there's an interesting, I guess, just perspective to think about as far as for what they've done for this game, right? So the fact that it took 4 years to make this game, and Starfield took 20 years, and we got for right, yeah, exactly, and counting, right? Like, it sounds like to me, Outlaw seems like a much more fun game and more filled out game when it comes to just whether in space or on a planet, more interesting to play in comparison to a Starfield if we think about it. Now, like you said, it seems like they bit off more than they could chew as far as just for various different elements, how, the experience of doing A to Z is fun, but once you're in Z or once you're in A, some things are kind of like, well, this could be better. This could have a little more variety if they had more time, or procedural generation, or whatever the case may be. So I find that really interesting because even though, we give Avatar shit, graphically that game is breathtaking, especially on PC. Like, even Digital Foundry talked about that game many times, how you need some high-end specs to really get the game to how it should look, and they showed a few footage things, and the game was pretty crazy. So these guys aren't necessarily slouches, but it seems like with everything that they were trying to get done, You know, it just seemed like it was they needed more than 4 years to get it done, but you know, business timetables releasing before GTA 6.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what it was, but
Yeah, like I honestly think if Outlaws ever gets a sequel, I think we'll get a good game. Not a great game, right? I'm not putting that on its jacket, but I'm like, yo, this
An 8 maybe an 8.
yeah, like an 8. I think you get a solid 8, and that's good, right? It doesn't need to be genre defying, right? I think if they build on what they have and just do variations, I think we'll be spot on. I can see it, but it's like this game is just has a lot of good ideas, and I fuck with it. It's like have you guys played Spider-Man?
Which
Uh,
one?
the PS4 one.
the
The
first or
first?
second
Yeah.
or the
So you know
Miles
this
The
so
PS2? No, I was kidding.
So yeah, right. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is great,
2020,
bro.
2018, yeah, my bad.
Classic.
Yeah. There's
The
like
first Spider-Man, no, I'm not.
there's like stealth sections with MJ.
Oh, that people were not a fan of. It
Yeah.
sounds like.
Like the stealth is a little bit better than that. You know, I'm just like it's like it works, right?
It's a little bit better than the
you-
worst part of that one game.
Yeah, which is a great game. So this is like a 7, right? Like
Dude,
this
My man, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I mean, I really think I can't say it's bad, but it's just
Yeah.
it's not
It's not
C
amazing.
minus.
it's a C minus. Like, yeah, you passed, bro, but like
God
Yeah,
damn.
you passed, but you passed, but do not ask me your grade. Just you
Yeah.
won't want to advertise down your GPA. Just take the pass. It's so with Ubisoft being Ubisoft, we've had Skull and Bones, bad game. We had Pandora, 7. We've had Outlaws, 7. Do you think their next game might be the first quintuple A game we've ever seen? Since this is now the company that makes quadruple A games.
well, this Outlaws is the first quintuple game. Oh, quintuple, sorry, not quadruple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Skull and Bones was a quadruple. Skull and Bones was a quadruple A game quoted by the CEO. So now, how do we feel that
Right.
we are possibly skipping a generation of the quadruple A area, and now just Ubisoft pioneering the world of quadruple A? 7 out of 10 games.
I mean, shit, dude. I think they need to do that. I mean, I have hopes for. I think the next game is like Assassin's Creed Shadows, right?
Yeah.
It's from the people that made Odyssey, bro. Right? It's the same team. So like that one more can I ask for? But am I gonna get a day one? Probably not, bro.
Well,
Dude,
remember, I'll say to cut you off there. Remember, Church, real quick. Sorry, keep telling you. Remember, for this time, people that did get it, they remember this game had early access. This game had 2 tiers of early access, and PS5 customers that got day 0 that paid for early access had to delete their save files after a patch on the actual day 1 launch.
because of a
So,
bug. Yeah, that's
'cause-
insane.
hey, you paid $140 to get this game day 0. Hey, well, here's the actual release date, and you got to delete the whole fucking save.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible. They did compensate them in game for something, but it's just like the hours that you put in, right? It's just like, do I want to, hey, for an average game, right? Do I want to tread back? Even
Right.
if it's a great game, like, yo, I don't feel like doing this all over again. That's too much. So I did not get the season pass for this one, right? This game comes with a season pass. It's $40, bro. $40.
Wow. Holy fuck. That's a lot of money.
Sorry, Joel and I just been playing Space Marine 2. We're like $40. They don't have a roadmap.
Well, no, they announced what it was. It's like 2 missions, right? Two missions. One having to do with the Trailblazer, which is the name of your ship, and I forget the other Sabak Syndicate table stuff they have to do. And then if you do get the season pass, you get access to a special mission because we love you. So there's a 3rd mission tied behind it. It's called Jabba's Gambit, and you get to go meet Jabba the Hutt or something like that.
For $40.
$40, bro.
For $40, you're gonna have a cameo with as if you go to Disneyland with one of their characters and pose for a selfie. Have them sign your Disneyland autograph book for $40.
They're gonna discount that shit by Black Friday, dude. They have to. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I just don't know what comes with. What is that $40? Like, if like one of the missions, because they're releasing waves, is like a new planet and location. Okay, That's complaining. Like, that's a lot of time. That's a new. But if it's just like go talk to this NPC and do this quest line on some place you've already been, like what are we doing here?
Hey,
Like,
Right.
some new guys showed up over here. Nothing's new. It's just more,
yeah, he
which
was
is
Right.
completed, but we
which
removed
is
him to sell you the DLC.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just I don't
Yeah.
want to like open a wormhole, but for me, I think that's what separates great DLCs from average is like things that add more things that add new and more, not just things that just here's another thing. But it'd be great because again, and I feel like this is a game that wouldn't need that because like Church was saying, it's like, hey, you're on a new planet. Oh, cool, new animation, and you'd again, oh, it's just the new animation for this fucking planet. One thing I heard a lot about is when it came to a Star Wars game, a lot of people were upset that you couldn't use other guns. Like people were saying, "Hey, in Battlefront 2, and like it's not one for one, but Jedi Survivor, you get to use different weapons." But they were saying in this game, you get to use like only the same pistol. You just do a different attachments on it to make it sort
Yeah,
of a different gun.
that's
What are your thoughts on that?
it works for me. I think those people that wanted, I guess they wanted a different open world Star Wars type of game, right? It's basically give me GTA but Star Wars. That's what they want, right? They want to have I want to have this blaster, kill as many people as I want to, and just have that a GTA Star Wars game, which I would be all for it, but I don't necessarily need my open world Star Wars game to be that, right?
Right. I agree. Yeah.
Um, so the one pistol works for me. I like swapping between the different modes. There's like 3 modes. It works. Um, you can pick up pistols on the dead body of somebody else, but that's not what you're going for, right? You don't have like an assault rifle you use into the ammo's done. So I just stick to the pistol. It works because that's the Star Wars game they want, right? It's Han Solo out there with a pistol, the entire movie. Like he could have got anything else, but no. So that's the experience they want. So
Interesting. Any lasting things before we transition?
um yeah, dude. Let's see. I think the music in this game is really good. I think that's what got me through the entire game. It's just the nostalgia strings when you're doing something that's epic, or you doing a raid into a compound and the alarm goes off and it's that Rogue One alarm going off. It does. It's there's a lot of love that went into the sound, and even the design of the areas, right? They feel like the lived in, like there's a community, just the deep to the like walls or floors, like yo, it looks like Star Wars, like, and that's the coolest thing of scaling buildings or secret passageways. Just seeing the sheer scales of stuff that you're around, you're like, dang, this is cool. It's just ultimately surrounded by average. That's just what
Yeah.
it is.
I was gonna
Definitely.
ask you. I was gonna ask you about that. I'm glad they have that because you're right. One thing that makes taking an existing IP and making it feel true to its soul is sound effects. Like Drell, if you remember when I had not when I had Game Pass, sorry, when I was like when there was a game that eventually came to Game Pass, Aliens Fireteam Elite, and the second you fire that gun, you're like, I'm in an Aliens game. Like I'm in it. Like that.
Yeah, that
Like
aesthetic is important. Yeah.
you can I mean there's certain sound effects, certain IPs, whether it's from especially from a movie or a show like Star Wars, where you can like blindfold us and fire a couple guns and be like, okay, that's the Starship Troopers gun, that's the Aliens gun, that's the Halo gun. And so to have that in this game is I think is good. I mean, like I said, Church, like nothing's like horrible, but again, for me, big man elephant never forgets, coming off the heels of his CEO saying, yeah, we make quadruple A games now. Sorry, we're still waiting to see you make, an 8 AAA game, at least my app since Valhalla. Since because that's the thing, that's why it's confusing too. I know Church, you said this is a different team, but again, like I said, this is still under Ubisoft's wheelhouse. So we'll see if Ubisoft can get back into the good graces of making 8 games, 8+ games they're known for, like Valhalla, like Odyssey, like Origins, like Far Cry, and their award-winning Far Cry series.
My last thing would be, I think for now we'll remember like the bad things about this game, but I think ultimately as time goes on, this would be probably I can't believe I'm gonna say this, like a court classic, like a little bit. Like I think the appreciation for this game will grow over time. For yeah, a lot of missteps, but the things that they did right and what we want, like yeah, this is the beginning of the blueprint. I think it would age better than what we think right now, in terms of what it did.
I think it's definitely a good first step, right? So people
Yeah.
can see like, okay, this is how they executed it, and then they didn't do everything bad. There's a lot that they did do good, right? So whoever picks up the baton, if you will, you know, I can see them going the distance. So I know that was way too poetic than it needed to be, but
I do have one question because Church talked on it, and I think Church, you and I were looking at the same news or same articles are talking about it. So
Yeah.
it did come out that this IP was just announced in 2020. By the way, again, my memory works where it wants to, which is in gaming, not so much to other areas in life. But again, remember 2020 was when EA's monopoly on the Star Wars IP ended, and early on to that being announced, saying, "Hey, EA no longer is the only person that can make Star Wars games." Early after that, like right after that announcement, we heard, "Bam, Ubisoft's going to make an open world Star Wars game," and people like me were like, "Oh shit, that's open world. That's Ubisoft's bread and butter." Like, yeah, we're gonna get towers, to liberate, but that's just gonna be fun. I've been doing that for years in Far Cry since Far Cry 3. Now here we are. That's the other thing I wanted to ask, because I know there was an interview saying, well, they only had 4 years to make it. Why was it rushed then? Like, no one asked for this to come out ASAP. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, were they trying to tie into like the timing of the Acolyte? I know it's not 1-to-1, but like, it's not uncommon that when there's a show or a movie dropping a game, even if it tends to have possibly quote unquote nothing related to that specific show or movie, that they just want to try to time it. So it's like, on one hand, they're saying, yeah, we only have 4 years to make it, but then it's like, who said you only have 4 years to make it? Like, not like people were asking to have this game rushed.
I think it was business. But go ahead, Church.
Yeah, I mean, it's just speculation, man. Like, if I don't know the contract with Disney, right? Maybe like, hey, yeah, you can do a Star Wars game, but you got to release it in 4 years. There's nothing story wise that ties into the Isolate. If anything, it's between episodes like 5 and 6, right? A little bit.
Yeah,
So,
it's like it's in between the same like trilogy.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, and it's kind of also like, okay, they made this game during COVID times, working from home, I guess so, for a little bit to push out something so quick. Like, there's a lot of asterisks that you can put next to it, right? But I think if this was able to cook a little bit better for perform, just to flesh out some ideas a little bit more for some variation, I think we would have got that solid, 0.5 out,
And, in
but
like 9 months or a year, do you think you're going to see major updates, or this is going to be another game in the catalog of release now, patch fix later?
yeah, I mean, I think they would do like a performance update to it. I mean, I think they will, just because of the season pass content, right? Whenever they start to drop, I think there's going to have some updates that fixes some bugs as along. It's just whether or not they'll do like a Valhalla stuff or Odyssey. Like,
Yeah.
those games, I mean, a shout out to Ubisoft that really like doubles down on single player experiences. They support those games 1 to 2 years after launch. Like, Valhalla had 2 years of DLC, right? Being released post launch. Same thing with Odyssey. Shit, I think Odyssey released a new mission 4 years after the game came back too, and I logged in to it as well. So I'm hoping maybe it goes a little bit farther. Maybe they fix it.
I'm just laughing myself, and hey, who knows? In 3 years, this can win a Grammy for best video game music,
Bro, right?
shout out to, for those who don't remember, Valhalla won a Grammy for best video
Valhalla.
game music.
Yeah.
Like 3 years after it fucking dropped, and we're all like, cool, video games getting respect to the Grammys, but like, you're almost a whole Olympics too late, my guy.
Yeah, it's been completed.
Like, cool,
Right.
but sure. I think no one told them that this game came out a couple years ago. So yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, brother, do we want to go into Warhammer?
Dude, it's funny. It's funny because for years in this pod, or like outside the pod and recording, I'll be like, brother, join me. And like, it's funny because now Jerrell is playing. I want to say, Jerrell, you're playing your first Warhammer game, and it's funny because he gets to immediately
Second,
see,
I played Dark Tide. I bought
Oh, that's
Dark
right.
Knight. I played it. Or no,
You
no,
played
I didn't
Dark
buy it. I played it on Game Pass when it
There
eventually
you go.
was available on there.
Okay. And
Game Pass.
hey, speaking of a game that's not on Game Pass, Space Marine 2. But for the Space Marines and for the Ultramarines, pretty much the big dudes, like pretty much like you're not a human, you're like a big fuck off guy. That's just how the Ultramarines talk. That's just how the Ultramarines talk. Like, brother, your duty is not done. Brother, the servers are kind of fixed. But so again, little absolute bias coming to this game. My hype for this game was I'm a big Warhammer 40K game fan. When it comes to all the lore and the books and the figurines, I don't really mess with that. So when it comes to a fan of the IP, I'm like, I absolutely consider myself like a casual. Like Victor and all my friends like know a lot more of the different like factions and groups and chapters and whatnot. Whereas I'm just like, their games are fun. And so with this game, it was originally supposed to come out around my birthday. It was originally supposed to be on Game Pass. I was like, bam, I'm done. I'm all in. Got delayed, gets removed from Game Pass. I fall in love with the PS5. I've put I think just shy of 30 hours in this game. I've yet to wear a headset for 1 second of any of it. So I'm absolutely glad I got this, the second gold edition for $100 on the PS5. So like I said, like Jerrell, Jerrell and I, we both put in PTO on Thursday. We both put PTO in for Friday. I gave myself an extra long weekend by getting PTO approved on Monday, tomorrow, the time of this recording. So like I said, I'm all in. Like I'm adult. Like, we ain't kids. Like now we're adults. I'm gonna go all in. Shit, I'm putting in PTO.
There you go.
And Jerrell and I were playing Day Zero. It's a great game. Like again, early on, the people that got the early alpha, and then a closed alpha before the last one got canceled, is again, Warhammer is a public IP, so it's not like there's no in-house studio. So you just kind of have to describe the game of its Warhammer plus blank. Very early on, people described this as Warhammer plus Gears of War, and for all the right reasons, that's absolutely accurate. Like this just feels like you're playing Gears of War 1 with almost fresh eyes, because we've almost forgot what playing a game like that is like. What's just the type of, what you want to call it, industry or mechanics or just other things. It just is different to feel like a classic, gory, cooperative online shooter, narrative-based campaign with your friends. And again, chainsawing people, executions, all this stuff. It just absolutely feels like what if like Gears of War came out with like a remake and they just added all these fucking mechanics. Like there's parries, there's perfect parry, there's dodge, there's perfect dodge. There's different powers, there's different abilities. And like Gears of War, as the campaign progresses, you unlock new types of armaments, new types of specials, new types of guns, new types of grenades and stuff like that. And I can't say enough about this game, just how fun it is. It's not, I wouldn't go as far as saying like it's a 10 out of 10, but for me, I would say it's like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And that's still really high praises compared to like the mediocre like tidal wave we've been getting from the gaming industry. So again, this is like a 9 out of 10 for me. The campaign is absolutely fun. Joel and I beat it. We're already talking about, we're looking to play it again on a harder difficulty. I've been playing the operations mode too, where the operations mode is the PvE mode, where you and two other buddies, this is a 3-person cooperative game. You play missions that are parallel to the campaign. So Jerrell, remember the whole time we were playing the campaign and they're like, okay, we're gonna go this way. Hey, you, AI homies, Tartarus and these other homies that are just like kind of like around you this whole time. We'll do this, you do this, and all of a sudden we like as we're approaching our boss fight, oh shit, yo, Tartarus, they blew up the thing. Hell yeah. Now that's what these operations are. You're those guys. Like you're those guys. You're going parallel. So it's like story-wise, you're still immersed and committed because you're playing parallel to all these things you gotta do. Like remember early draw, they're like, hey, you gotta go fight this hive thing. I'm like, oh, we gotta go fight the hive thing. And you play the campaign, you don't. The other team does. Well, that's an operation in this game. Like that's a boss fight in this operations mode, and it's cool because to even keep you even extra attached. The last operations mission, right now there's 6. The last one is like its own thing. It's not linked with the story. It's like an epilogue sort of situation. I have dipped my feet into PvP. I played 2 matches. I won both. I got second in both. It's fun. I'm sure there's people that are like, oh, here's the meta, here's the balance. I don't care. I just want to dip my feet into PvP. I'm glad the option's there for people that want the option, but I'm team PvE. And again, yeah, overall thoughts. As I try to try to keep my overall thoughts brief on top of the things I love about this game. It's like a 9 out of 10. It's like what Ratchet and Clank was for me, how it felt nostalgic playing like a classic PS2 platformer. This felt almost like classic, almost like nostalgic to me in the sense that this is like what simple but yet in-depth cooperative shooter games felt like. And operations modes builds so much on top of the campaign that you wanted. This another thing, the way to sum up the operations mode, Church and Jerrell, you guys are both familiar with this. It's kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, where you have all the powers in the campaign, but then on the operation mode, it's like you have classes that are separate from each other. You still have choices of what types of weapons to do, but like you can't, like only this one class has the shield, only this one class has the thunder hammer, but you're not committed to any one of them. Sometimes I encourage you to play other types of classes because we can't all be the same thing. There's only going to be one of each class. So if like I'm doing this and Church comes in, he's like, I want to try this guy. It's like, oh, I'm already that guy, but hey, you're new. I'll switch out to their characters to try him out. So there is sort of like encouragement to, dip your feet in other classes. Cause if you play online and the host is like already that thing, you're probably gonna have to be the one to switch. But overall, Jerrell, I'm really happy, and we both got PTO off. Their servers have been having hiccups, but we were able to beat the campaign. There was a little bit where I was playing on my own, where Jerrell was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go eat, do your thing." I think I only did like one, maybe two boss fights without you there, so you probably experienced like 95% of the campaign,
So
and
is the
it's fun.
campaign short if you guys were able to get through it so quick? Like,
It's semi short, but it's not
Maybe
like the Call
6
of
to
Duty.
8 hours, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't feel short when you take a step back and look at a clock. You're like maybe, but you're so immersed the whole time, and it's like go go go. That's another thing why it's like Gears of War 2. That's another reason why I openly say it is like Gears of War, because I have beat Gears of War campaigns in one sitting. Like I was telling Jerrell, I remember one year in college, me and my homie, we just popped up the Xbox 360 and we beat Gears of War 2 in one night. And I still look back in the game fondly. I still look back at me playing the game looking back in the campaign fondly. I'm not like, oh, it took us only one night. Oh, Gears of War is bad. No, it's just, this is an action. This isn't like this is not a, RPG. This is an action-based game. I was not expecting a 12-hour campaign. I'll be surprised if it was. The campaign's definitely replayable, and operation mode is going to adds a whole new thing on top of the end game with PvP. And again, because they've already laid out the roadmap, we know there's more epilogue stories coming out with the season pass. We also know there's more modes coming out to PvP and PvE. So I think they got ahead of it by addressing how potentially short this campaign is by laying out the roadmap, their 1-year roadmap, like ASAP and like detailed. So again, it can be short, but it does not absolutely feel short or like feel like tiny at all.
okay. So I guess I have two questions. I guess the first one, are you satisfied with the campaign? Did it
Absolutely, for me.
absolutely? Okay. And then the second question is, because the season pass is going to have the epilogue stories, is this campaign complete to finish, or did it have like
There's no true
cliffhangers? Yeah. So like, then what do we know what the epilogue is going to be about? Is it going to be the start of a whole new story, or just
we have a theory. There's no true cliffhanger. Like Gears of War 5, absolute cliffhanger. Like we'll look at that fight that's about to come, credits, and you're like, fuck. This game, it didn't really have a cliffhanger, but it did reference the first game. You don't have, that's the thing too. This is a sequel. You don't have to have played the first game to play this game. Like they get a little bit into the lore because Space Marines can live for centuries. This game, Space Marine 2, takes place a century after Space Marine 1. So again, just to give you like, oh shit, this dude's like 200 years old. And it's like, yeah, that's average. There is like one line that like, it's kind of a reveal of like something from their first game, but it's not like a cliffhanger where you're like, oh shit. It's still like, it's more like a reveal of what was, not necessarily like a cliffhanger of what will be. that gives some context of like, man, this guy was kind of a dick, and it just reveals like, oh, that's why he was a dick. It's not like, oh, what is this dick going to do next, sort of thing. But no, that I think the campaign absolutely is self-enclosed. Like I said, I'm already looking forward to playing it on higher difficulty. Church, just let you know there are 4 difficulties. I forget it's called easy mode. It's not called easy mode, but there's easy, normal, veteran, and then like Angel of Death.
It's called impossible or something.
It's something death. It's like Angel of Death. It's like kind of in the lore name. We did play most of their first act on veteran, which is tier 3 of 4. This game will kind of humble you quick. I don't know if you guys have played other like saber games. Like I talked about World War Z, like the horde mechanic of the Tyranids is 1-for-1 what the World War Z zombie mechanic was. And World War Z is another game too, where if any of you guys ever played World War Z, here is the most common World War Z experience. Oh, easy. I'm not gonna play easy. I'm playing normal. And they get your fucking shit wrecked. Okay, I'm playing easy for a little bit. Tyler, the mechanics. That's kind of what this is. We did most of Act 1 on veteran, and there's just one mission where we're just like, hey, Jerrell, I think we need to go to normal. And then we did, but now that we got better with pairing, now that we got better with dodging and like prioritizing targets, like, dude, at one point, Jerrell and I had a fucking system down.
It was pretty smooth. It's like some Miami Vice shit.
I still remember there was like this lead up to a boss fight, and I had a minigun, which is like meant for all the little guys. Like there's a ton of ankle biters, and if you ignore the ankle biters, they'll rip off a fucking Achilles if you let them. And so there's all these little guys. I have a minigun, and Joe has this big sniper. I'm like, okay, the second this pops off, I'm gonna get all the little guys, and you're gonna focus on the big dudes. 3, 2, 1, let's fucking go. And bam, it just like we drew it up, boys. Like bam, I plowed through all the little dudes. He was headshotting the big dudes. And like the second time we did it, we didn't even fucking get touched. We're like, oh, hell yeah, let's fucking go.
And
like,
threw some grenades on the little guys.
So,
oh, nice.
So this is absolutely, you can play by yourself. One thing I will add to Church is something that's also refreshing for the campaign and operations, the NPC AI. So if you're playing by yourself, you're not truly by yourself, your AI companions are there, they're awesome.
AI is solid.
Dude, yeah. Jerrell, Carry On, or what's his name? Chiron.
Chiron or whatever. Yeah,
Chiron. There you go. Yeah. Chiron. Dude, respect to him. All the like champion of revives. like shit pops off, you get down, your AI will fucking die. Your AI will fucking die before fucking reviving you. So it's really refreshing. And also the executions you do, the AI does too. And again, this is like I used to talk about Back 4 Blood a lot. Back 4 Blood, which is made by the same team, Turtle Rock, that did Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead 2 at the time for me for years had some of the best AI NPC buddies ever in gaming for me. And then Back 4 Blood had some of the fucking worst. And so Back 4 Blood, like literally the match would end. And I'd be like, oh, how many kills did this guy get? 0. I'm like, you fucking bitch. Why are you here? We're killing 100 zombies and you get 1 fucking kill. All of a sudden we're playing this game. We're like, oh shit, we need to execute that guy. A fucking Chiron just goes there and starts fucking executing the guy with his hammer. We're like, oh shit, the AIs can execute too. Oh, they use their grenades and they use their powers. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Having useful AI NPCs for a game that is absolutely like in the category of challenging, it's just a great feature, because had this game been this challenging with Back 4 Blood level of AI, this game would be the campaign would be unplayable by yourself.
Yeah. I think one of just to go of a slight tangent on my experience, this is one of the best gaming experiences I've had in many years. The game looks beautiful. Like they really did their shit as far as just the game creation, the immersiveness, the experiences. There were like 3 different times in the game where I'm looking at like just like mad shit is going on, like just like fucking aliens are going over, and then like you see all these ships and stuff, you see all these like all of your Marines and stuff, and then you have the Ultramarines, the music is on point, and you're just like, holy shit, like, you just kind of take a few seconds and think, oh fuck, all right, get in the fight, you know what I mean? Like there's just a few moments like that where you're like, wow, this looks fucking crazy. And I played on PC. For those who maybe you're curious about like what specs I have a GTX 1660 Super, 32 gigs of RAM, i5 processor, and it ran the game fine. You know, ran the game fine, and it looked great. Like, it looked just as good as a console, if not a little bit better, but it looked great. So to me, it was very comparable to a PS5 or an Xbox Series X would look. But the experience is really solid. The mechanics are solid. Definitely play it. If you're on PC, use a controller. The game is really designed where you should be using a controller. I have the PS5 controller, so using this was great. Like, when it switches to it, I'm like, oh, thank God, because the melees are really dope. You know, the different types of weapons you have, it's just as solid as the gunplay. And yeah, the AI is great. It's a really solid game, very nostalgic. I haven't played a game like that in a long time, you know. So I think they really nailed that. I would definitely give it like an 8.5, 9. But to me, it's absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. I think it's a good time. I wish people made more games like this, but really impressed with this team and what they've done. So
You're on mute.
oh, you're on mute, man.
Since you guys have beat the campaign, what are you guys gonna do now? Just do like the go ahead.
Operations.
Operations.
Operations is the next one. Yeah. Go ahead, Arthur.
So operations to its core is meant to be replayed because you can level up your character, you can lock different armors, different perks, different. There's a skill tree. Like there's an actual skill tree, and it's not just like unlock to the next point, to the next point, to the next point. No, there's a skill tree. It's simplistic. Like, don't expect, you know, like an RPG level type of, you know, what's that game that's like Diablo but has like the most ridiculous complicated skill tree ever, like Path of Exile or something like that.
That's crazy.
Pillars of Eternity. You've seen it. Like, it's just it's like the most ridiculous skill tree system ever. So there is a skill tree system. Again, it is simplistic. So don't come in as thinking like, oh, skill tree means every RPG ever. No, but it's like there's like 4 or 5 different categories in each skill tree, but you can only have one of each thing unlocked, and you unlock more as you go. So I'm playing the Bulwark, who is the only one that gets to use the shield with a melee weapon. So I'm rocking the shield with the chainsword, and you really get to play to your playstyle, because so not only can you level up your character with the skill tree, but you can also level up your weapon. So like my sword, I can have its heavy attacks do more damage, or like its heavy attacks heal me more. Because a common health mechanic, the best way I can describe it is, Church, you know when you're playing a fighting game, and when you take damage from a combo, there's like this gray health bar that shows how much damage you lost from that combo. Well, there's a mechanic in this game that lets you get all, if not partial, of that health back. So I can level up my melee weapon so that, hey, my heavy attacks do more damage, or I get more of my gray health back. And again, that's up. And not only that, I can level up and play other weapons too. So it's like, hey, I want to play this weapon or this sidearm and this melee weapon. And there is, not only is there like a simple but really fun combo system with each weapon, but there's also different like stats and styles. So every melee weapon has like this like sidebar where it shows like 1 skull or 3 skulls, and that's pretty much telling you, is this better for 1v1 versus an elite, or is this better for crowd control against the hundreds of ankle biters fucking trying to nibble off your Achilles? And so like there's the hammer, which is like the best AoE crowd control that does like the heaviest damage, but it's also kind of it's just a slower weapon. So if you're fighting a 1v1 like elite dude, there's a higher chance they can like hit you out of your combo. You can of course dodge and parry to make up for that. But again, there's different play styles. You know, there's different play styles of what melee weapon you want. And here's the thing, those are just really like a weapon's strengths. You can play however you want, but it's just telling you, hey, by the way, you can play however you want. By the way, this hammer is best for crowds. You can play however you want. However, the combat knife is the best for 1v1s.
There's mad sniper rifles around here. No reason. I mean, you could choose it or not choose it.
Yeah, the game will like Pavlov you to know what this next thing's about, like all about the be like, hey, you're about to go across this bridge that has no cover. Oh, by the way, before you do that, here's a bunch of ranged weapons with scopes for no reason. Just do you, boo? You have a shotgun. but we're gonna dump like 4 different options of sniper rifles, wink wink, nudge nudge, you may want to pick up for this section. Or same thing, we go into like a catacombs and it's like, hey, we say, hey, you probably have a sniper, but here's a bunch of close range, close quarter weapons you may want for this next segment. Nudge nudge, wink wink in the campaign. So but again, so you can play how you want, but it's like Gears of War, like you'll if you run around, you'll find instead of the fire bow like you would in a Gears of War campaign, you find a sniper or you find that. But again, in all the right ways, it's like that. Like, so if I can describe in one sentence, it's like, what if Gears of War came out today with a ton of mechanics, just as good narrative story. Even though a lot of people don't know the lore, even though a lot of people had to play the first game, I think Jerrell, I think you could speak to this the most. The narrative story in this game is still immersive and still just has you hooked, and the gameplay loop is just so fun.
Yeah, I was really surprised with the dialogue, because like when you initially hear us being like, brother, like someone outside the game would be like, that sounds really fucking annoying. But they created this whole culture as far as like for how like the Warmish, the Space Marines just like act with each other. And then, the dialogue amongst each other is really interesting. So you're like, okay, this is just like a culture of like how those people are within the regime, if you will. So you get used to it and you kind of get into it, So kudos to them when it comes to that in particular. The one negative thing I will say, and it's not necessarily with the game, but to me it's to do with if we really want this cross-compatible shit to actually be a thing, like cross-compatibility with PC to PS5 or PC to Xbox or whatever it is. It's more so PC to PS5. That's been more of the issue. That has to be fixed. And maybe they're doing that because they're like, just buy PS5, bitch. But like, to me, like if you want the sales to happen in general for the game's sake, I think it just needs to be improved exponentially. Because that was the issue that I was having. We were trying to get the server, like see if the servers are going to work, and I had to like turn off my cloud sync on Steam and then turn it back on and then try it again, and that worked for enough for us to beat the campaign. And then during operations, it was like it worked until a point where it just didn't, so. And this is the same time that's happened because for Helldivers 2, that happened as well. Like I've been meaning to play with my friend, and I guess they're one of the biggest things that have been an issue. They technically still haven't fixed. They've fixed a bunch of other stuff, but they haven't fixed it yet. So I'm like, guys, like if you want these sales from PC players, like improve that experience. I know you want those people to eventually buy a PS5. Like that's even what some of the 2 new CEOs have said, but that experience is really shitty. Like it shouldn't be to the point where, man, I have such a bad fucking experience here, I'm gonna go and buy this instead. Like no, it should be like certain other features beyond like technical difficulties of a bad gaming experience. So that's my thing. I'm probably going to like the old like guy who grumbles, I'll probably end up buying a PS5 anyway. But to me, it shouldn't be that way. For someone who has a PS5, they have like a fucking GTX 480 or whatever. Like they shouldn't be forced to buy a console. They just create that experience better. Even if you force PC players to pay for online, I would do it. You know what I mean? Like I would pay the $10 a month if I'm able to connect with you guys and to communicate with you guys through the game, not through some funky app and wire it over. You know what I mean? Do some weird like stuff like to communicate with you guys. So that's my only thing. And again, that's not a Warhammer thing. That's a cross-play thing with PC to PS5.
Yeah, so like Jerrell said, the right now we're still technically in day 0. The game hasn't officially come out day 1 till tomorrow, Monday the 9th. But yeah, so right now they are working the servers, they are working improving it. But yeah, that is a noticeable issue. Is cross play servers from PC to PS5 are having some issues. Hence why I think 2 of my 4 streams so far are like, brother, we got the servers to work. Like,
yeah. It's like ringing a car. So, oh shit, I got it. Like hotwired a car. Yeah.
But I know I went off on a massive tangent. But yeah, still at church. Is there like mechanics to keep me playing after the campaign? Absolutely. I want to level up the bulwark more so I could be more of a like a kind of healer to you guys or to my, to randos. I've already added 2 online Warhammer friends. Like, it's like the OG days, it's like the OG days of gaming. It's like the OG days of Call of Duty, which we're going to a little bit. Like, oh shit, you got a mic, you're not an asshole. Oh, me too. Hey, you want to add each other so we can play Warhammer together? I've already done that twice. Like I got more PS5 Warhammer friends now. And so now, like later today, when I hop on, if I see new homie there, I've already played like 4 operations with him, and he wants help in his campaign. So guess what? If I see him on later, like, yo, dude, let's knock out your campaign. Let's fucking go. Again, like the OG of like cooperative days. But yeah, so operations and also church PvP. If you just really want to, stay on business, teabag. You can't actually, but teabag some motherfuckers in PvP to show who's true, who's who in the fucking Space Marine world. Then there's that PvP aspect. That is fun. I have played a few matches.
Right on. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to like buying the game later this week and just getting into it as much as I can. So, I just didn't know, like, did I miss the train? Like, if the campaign's finished already. So, like, I didn't know what the post game experience would be, but it seems like there's a lot to do. So,
Yeah, and it is, and it's fun because it's one of those games where you can't play again over it again, especially with new friends or whatever, like your other friends. Like, it's that fun where I could play the campaign for 2 additional times before I'd be like, lols, I'll play something else. Like, it's that fun. So
got you.
yeah, yeah. So I wanted to talk about it's not a shitty experience, but it's an experience I had with the Call of Duty BLOPS 6 beta. And it's not specifically with the game. It was just the experience of having to sign up for everything. And like, it might be just like old man grumbles,
PC
but
players.
They don't want to get a PSN account to play Helldivers, and now they don't want to get an active account to play.
Bro, the loops they put me through to play this goddamn match was ridiculous. Like, it was like, oh, you gotta create an account, and then I created the account, put in the password, it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do here? Like, I created the password, so I had to use another email to create an account fresh, and then it was like, oh, well, you have to put your phone number in for Steam, and I'm like, fine, that's great, cool. What else do you need? My social security card? Like, what do you need? So like, I finally got it working. Actually, 2 times it didn't work. It was like, oh, there's a bug, and I'm like, there wasn't a bug in all the other games I've played. What the hell's going on? So I finally got it. And then I started playing, and it feels like a Call of Duty. Feels smooth. The aesthetics are good. Obviously I used the PS5 controller to hook up to the PC. Oh, no, actually I used mouse and keyboard this time around. It's first-person shooter, so I used mouse and keyboard this time around. But you can use the controller. But yeah, I mean, the sound is good. The graphics look really good. I played 60 frames per second, which is nice comparison to, consoles still have a problem not being 60 frames per second, right? But playing 60 frames per second was dope. I was like, okay, this is nice run and gun, But then I got that snap to reality for why I didn't play Call of Duty, because some guy was like, oh, like that, I'm hugging your cheeks, motherfucker. He's talking to me through the thing. You like that shit? And I'm like, mute. Like, I muted everybody, and I was like, that's why there's people like this on Call of Duty. But the game looks good. It sounds good. So I mean, it's gonna be a Call of Duty, right? It's gonna do its thing. I have no issues of it being a bad game. It's just a game that's matured into something that I don't care for anymore. You know what I mean? I used to be able to lean to Battlefield, and then Battlefield fucked up. So first-person shooters is still one of those, like, I don't know what I want to do now. Maybe X-Defiant will be decent. I don't know.
X-Defiant or Sony's new coming fucking
Fair Games.
Fair Games. Sony's like, hey, you know what, guys? We know we fucked up with Concord. We heard what you said, so here's another one.
Yeah.
Before the one that is live service, I didn't play the Black Ops beta. I tried to play the Black Ops beta, and then whoops, I loaded Space Marine again. Sorry, how that happened. I did download it though. I will open my PS5 to now uninstall it, but I did the same thing.
I uninstalled right after the first match.
I went as far as installing it. That's as far as I got with the Black Ops 6 beta. And here's the thing: I didn't play the beta. I forget if Church of you did, but my 2 cents is here's the thing. This is the way, kind of to a point. like church, and a lot of people, not a single church, but a lot of people give like quote unquote bad or gotcha like free games with a ton of microtransactions, even if they're quote unquote bad. All you can do is just really uninstall it and you haven't lost any money. And if you did, it's on you. For me, knowing that Black Ops 6 is on Game Pass. By the way, this isn't news. That's how I've been treating Game Pass games for a long time. Is like, even if this Game Pass game is like bad, I'm like, I don't know, I didn't fucking pay for it. I just paid for a subscription, but I didn't really pay face value for it. So that's why for me, if I miss this beta, I'm not like mad because when the game still drops, I'm not gonna have to spend $70 to fucking play it. I'm just gonna load up, eventually, blow off the dust of my Xbox and load up Black Ops 6 again, at least for the campaign. I don't see myself playing the online knowing I'm gonna be like all in on Space Marine. Like I just mentioned Church. One thing I will say with Space Marine as well, because Church and a lot of people that didn't get the day zero quote unquote editions and just the day one editions. At least with Steam, Warhammer Space Marine 2 peaked at like 134,000 players. And right now, as we speak, there's 108,000 people on Space Marine with Steam. So that's why I think for people like me, even when Black Ops 6 comes out, I'll play a little like the campaign just because on Game Pass it's something new, just to play it. And then I'm gonna hop right back on to that. But I don't play the beta, so on Church. If you did, I don't know if you have other thoughts on Black Ops 6.
I mean, I guess nothing that you guys haven't said. I haven't really played the beta that much, right? I maybe did 1 or 2 matches and just like getting used to what Call of Duty is in terms of the running and gunning on a map. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this, I forget, it's fast paced, camp, hug these corners. It's a different gaming experience. And so I got like, maybe there's a different game mode that I'm more used to. I will say console's kind of cool. They have 120 frames per second mode on the console for Black Ops, so that's kind of cool. That's supported. Other than that, I just kind of played a few matches. I'm like, okay, kind of got off, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play Call of Duty right now. But like, it's not the game that I'm in the mood to play, right? I'd rather go back to Outlaws or something. But I'll play when it comes on a Game Pass. It's free, right? I'm like, yo, I get a Call of Duty game for free. It's a campaign, cool. I'll check out the multiplayer for a little bit. Maybe some of my friends will have Call of Duty. None of us really play Call of Duty right now. I think it's everybody is playing Overwatch. So maybe we'll go from Overwatch to Call of Duty, but we'll see what happens. So
yeah,
it's okay.
I think one thing that's going to be in the weeds and potentially an issue, if I were to foreshadow anything, I think there's going to be an issue with storage, because I don't know if you can play Call of Duty in the cloud. I don't think they've confirmed that or not. So have over 100 gigabytes ready. Some people have 4 terabytes, where the fuck it is. So those people
I got 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, so I mean, just save them up,
For the rest of us peasants.
I mean, it's just an update is an average of 40, 50 gigs. It seems like these days. So it's just like
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna take so Series S players, you're fucked. You're basically fucked.
Yeah, it's your Call of Duty machine at that point.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So unless you get the expansion storage, you're gonna have an issue with storage. So I think that might be a potential issue in the future. But I mean, as far as the game, it's a Call of Duty game. I didn't have any bad experiences in that particular regard. But like you said, yeah, it's just, you have to kind of have that Call of Duty mindset, wanting to play that type of game. And I'm like, I played so many other games since then. I don't know if I want to go back to that, especially like on that particular regard. So yeah, that's kind of my thing on that too.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to have to drink a cup of coffee before playing online, to get the blood going, just to get caffeine to
right.
Fuck all these little 12-year-olds. Look, man, that's the prop. The chat is something else in Call of Duty, bro. It's a different experience. And just remembering how to play in terms of kill points and the usables, the grenades. It's like when do you have time? It's so fast paced. When do you have time to throw a grenade besides, oh, I respawned, chuck, because these people are gonna run over the, I don't know. I got to get into it. So.
Dude, you got to get into that 12-year-old mentality. Okay, so you're drinking your 5th bottle of prime energy drink. Okay,
yeah,
and then and you've already dropped 1, maybe 2 racial slurs. Definitely minimum of 5. Your mom's a whore jokes,
yeah.
And then that's when you pop off. If there's no excessive amount of vitamin B12 or caffeine in your body, you might just be playing Call of Duty wrong. And you have an open mind and you're tolerant of other people. Again, man, that's not a winner's mindset in Call of Duty. You know, you gotta get into it. So yeah, you might have to go down the rabbit hole chat or do what us, men of culture do, which is, oh, the game started. Mute.
Yeah.
Down square. Like
there's a delete all button now. You can just toggle delete all. Yeah. Because back in the day we've had to toggle mute. Now you can just delete all because they just know that they just have scumbags playing their game.
It's like you sound like the type of kid where your mama doesn't beat you. Those aren't beyond the words of ethics and racism. Like, break it down. When we were kids, like there's just I couldn't say the F word in my I couldn't say fuck in my house without fucking getting chocolate with the power of Jesus behind it. My Catholic household. So again, it's just like, hey, we need to beat our kids again. Oh, why, to improve society? No, to make Call of Duty lobbies more tolerable.
Right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's different room, But I think that's almost just about it. Was there any no, so did you buy Astrobot? I'm trying to remember, Church.
I did buy it. I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
So
okay.
I have to crack that still. So
yeah. I'm excited about that. Got great reviews. Go ahead, Arthur.
It's already being reviewed. It's already scored as like one of the top 100 top reviewed games, either like of ever or like for a Sony first party. I forget. I just remember top 100 was like the title I saw.
Crazy momentum for like Sony to shut down Concord and then have this beast of a game, Astrobot, come out like not soon afterwards. I just don't know if it's true. I just saw a review where somebody said, hey, the quality of this game is up there with a Nintendo platformer. And I mean that sincerely. And I'm like, motherfucker, as the Nintendo head of this podcast,
you're like,
I bought the game not for enjoyment, for a challenge. I'm like, those are big words here as a big like Mario fan. Like, just as good as Nintendo does it. Like, let's find out. Let's find out, motherfuckers. Let's see if it's good.
It's averaging a 93, I think, on OpenCritic, which is pretty impressive.
Damn.
That's a game all of us skipped on our fantasy card. Fucking Astrobot, man.
I messed that up too. Yeah.
Who would have thought, bro? So I'll play the game this week. Maybe I'll get a couple hours into it, and we could talk about it next week to see if it's good or not. But this game seems up my alley. So
I'm excited.
I will say from the gameplay I've seen, it does seem Nintendo-esque, like kind of cartoony, kiddish, but still fun. I don't know if there's like a hub world or something, but like I seen gameplay of someone exploring like the hub world, and there was just a lot of like Easter eggs. There was like an Astrobot that looked like Ryu, a Ken, a Kazuya, a Jin, and somebody else from another fighting game. And when you do your dialogue or not, then they do like a move or something from the game. So there's a lot of references there, and yeah, though the one thing for me, at least in terms of the show itself, I did want to at least mention, because I did mention the word fantasy card. Funny enough, as much as as much as we were kind of like shitting on Outlaws, none of us, at least early on, were expecting Outlaws to be bad. That's why I put on my fantasy card. And Church was like, "Oh, you bitch, you got that on your fantasy card before I did." You're only missing out on 6 points, my dude. So you're not. It's not like you lost a bank. It's not like you lost a house in this one. But I will say, real quick, speaking of the fantasy card, Warhammer Space Marine 2 has this right now a TBA rating of 82 points. So I'm probably gonna get like 12 points for that. Where I just said it. Star Wars Outlaws has a rating of 76. They got me 6 points. And then the other game we kind of mentioned that was another success lately, Black Myth Wukong, got a rating of 81 in OpenCritic, and I got 11 points from that. So, man, last year I was hard, like locked in the caboose bronze medal of our fantasy card last year. And oh man, this year, like I said, I didn't care if it did bad. I'm like, I'm getting Space Marine 2. I'm so glad I did. Space Marine 2 got a score of 82. So again, when it comes to the fantasy card, I'm glad I went with my heart on that one. I got to double down.
Bro, I got fucked on my fantasy card, bro.
I don't even know my score on the fantasy card right now. I gotta look that up.
Arthur is first.
I have it open. So I have 85. Jerrell, also known as African Black Soap, has 70.
Yep.
And Church, I'll name this later. 51.
Damn. And
Yeah, we gotta do another draft of bidding because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
We still
Yeah,
have time.
another-
We still have time.
Well,
still-
I said another draft, and he would have 61, but again, Suicide Squad tanked him negative 10 points.
Yeah.
Hey, I got -6 because I thought Outlaws was gonna get pushed back, and it didn't. So I was like, damn it.
Nope. No, but yeah. So I won't go into too much because Jerrell and I talked about it last time too. But like again, on the heels of Concord being shut down and people like we went on a rant of like gaming journalism in today's age. But again, I'm just happy to see.
Bro, I think I
I'm
owe
happy-
you. Sorry, like a pizza
Yeah.
or breakfast burrito or something. Which was
Yeah,
what was the item?
You
But
do.
It was between Concord and
Concord.
Rivals. Yeah.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like,
I was like,
yeah,
I owe
you
you,
fucking
like-
Yeah.
dead, dude.
Yo, who would have thought?
Me and every other person in the comment section.
It would
of
have
that
been
video.
shut down this like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bro.
Church again. I've been in it since I've been in the shutdown era since day one. Brink, Anthem, Lawbreakers, Paladins, Battleborn. That canceled game from Amazon. There was another hero-based shooter. There was another hero-based shooter that never even saw the light of day. Had a open beta, and then Amazon Gaming just canceled it so that they could focus on New World, the MMO. So that's another game. So yeah, like I said, it's like I've been like this is the people like, oh, this doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to this scale, but it absolutely happens. It absolutely happens.
Bro, I just crazy. Who would have? Jeez.
Me, dude, Church, I'm telling you, man, go back and right now look at that reveal trailer and you will see all the comments of like, did anyone else roll their eyes when they saw Hero Shooter? Oh, great. This is gonna be dead within a year. Who's calling it? Like, dude, we're reading the tea leaves, man. Like, we can't, like, fun games are fun regardless of genre. Look at Black Myth Wukong. Fun games are fun regardless of genre. Look at Space Marine 2. Fun games are fun. Who the fuck would have thought Astrobot 2? I mean,
Exactly.
like you can't just bank on quirkiness or some things will sell a game. So yeah, so again, me and a bunch of people like me were like, no, we're calling it, this game's be fucking dead. Real quick, I did put in our little chat here, where they put a little chat. I think I mentioned it too. So Warhammer peaked 134,000 players. It currently, as of top of recording, has 110,000. I just refreshed it. 2 more thousand people joined since I put a comment a few minutes ago. Has a current player count of 110,000. Concord peaked at less than 700 people. When you have a peak player count of less than 700 for a live service game that's built off microtransactions, I'm like, oh, your game's fucking dead in the water.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll leave it there. And it'd be interesting to see, what people say since it recently just got canned. What people say that did play it, get that feedback and see how it changes for future live service games for Sony and just in general. But good combo here. Gonna wrap it here for the Gamers for Life podcast. We're at 150, guys. Congratulations.
Hey, $1.50.
There you go. That'll work. All right, of course, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrell. With me is my co-host, Church and Arthur.
Brother.
Enjoy Astrobot, sir, and Space Marine. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.